Imagine this. You're sitting across from someone who knows everything. Every hidden thought, every brutal judgment, every secret desire you've ever had about them, about yourself, about the world. And they look at you not with anger, but with calm understanding. The silence is not awkward, but profound. In this moment, you feel a terrifying, exhilarating truth. You are fully seen. No masks, no performance, just the raw, unedited truth of your being. Now, hold that feeling, because we live in the precise opposite. Our world is built on a fundamental, exhausting contradiction. We crave genuine connection, yet we spend our lives constructing elaborate fortresses of politeness, omission, and white lies to protect ourselves. We call this social harmony, or being nice. But what is the true cost of this daily fabrication? What part of you slowly suffocates each time you swallow a hard truth? Each time you choose the comfortable lie over the liberating, dangerous fact? This is the paradox of human consciousness. We possess a mind capable of perceiving profound truth, yet we voluntarily live within a self-created cage of fiction. We lie to be loved, yet we can only be loved for who we truly are. So why do we choose the prison? What deep psychological mechanism is activated not by the lie itself, but by the mere anticipation of honesty's consequence? The answer is not what you think. It is far more ancient, and it begins not as a choice, but as a survival instinct buried deep within your neurology. This instinct is not mere cowardice. It is the legacy of our tribal past, a psychological architecture built by natural selection. To be ostracized from the tribe was a death sentence. Thus, our brains evolved a sophisticated alarm system. The fear of social rejection is neurologically registered with the same primal intensity as physical pain. Every potential truth is first run through this ancient filter. Will this get me cast out? Will this disrupt the harmony I depend on to survive? Philosophers have long named this cage. Jean-Paul Sartre called it bad faith, the act of lying to oneself to escape the terrifying weight of freedom and responsibility. We choose the comfortable, predefined role of the polite person, the agreeable friend, because it is easier than standing in the raw, undefined light of our own authentic truth. Carl Jung saw the concealed self, the shadow, as the repository of all we deem unacceptable. We lie to others to keep our own shadow hidden, even from ourselves, creating a fragmented identity. We are not just protecting ourselves from others. We are protecting a fragile, constructed self-image from the internal earthquake of radical self-honesty. The polite lie is a social lubricant, but it is also the glue that holds our personal illusions intact. This is the hidden problem. Every outward falsehood reinforces an inward one. We trade the integrity of our being for a fleeting sense of security. But what happens when this trade becomes the very fabric of our existence? What unseen world are we building with these daily, well-intentioned deceptions? If these shadows on the cave wall disturb you, if you desire to see the light of deeper truths, consider subscribing. Your engagement, your likes and comments, fuels this journey into the uncharted self. The consequence is a world of ghosts. You inhabit relationships with facsimiles of people, while they interact with a curated avatar of you. This silent conspiracy of mutual fiction creates a profound loneliness that lingers beneath the surface of every crowded room. You feel unknown, because you are. Your true thoughts, when left unspoken, don't vanish. They metastasize, they become resentment, passive aggression, or a dull, existential fatigue, the psychological weight of carrying a self you never openly acknowledge. Cognitively, this distortion becomes a prison of its own making. You begin to believe your own performance. This is the illusion of transparency bias in reverse. You assume your masked self is obvious to others, while simultaneously losing touch with your own core. Your brain, seeking consistency, rewires your memories and perceptions to align with the fiction you present. You are not lying about who you are. You are actively becoming the lie. Societally, This conditioning breeds a culture of insincerity where authenticity feels like a social risk, and deep trust becomes a rare currency. This is the unseen trap. The very mechanisms you employ to secure safety and belonging ultimately erode the foundation for true connection and self-respect. You trade reality for a palatable dream, and in doing so, surrender your agency to a script you didn't write. But if the cost is so high, why does breaking free feel so impossibly dangerous? What is the first, tremulous step out of the cave and into the blinding, terrifying light of truth? The rebellion does not begin with a confession to another, but with a silent, seismic shift within. It starts by turning the lens of radical honesty inward to the private dialogue in your own mind. This is the philosophy of the Stoics and of Viktor Frankl. Between stimulus and response, there is a space. In that space lies your power to choose the truth. You must first confront your own internal fictions, the stories you tell yourself about your limitations, your worth, your past. You must speak the brutal facts to yourself, alone in a room with no one to perform for. The external practice is not about brutal, unregulated truth-dumping. It is an art form. It is compassion fused with unwavering fact. It is stating, "I felt hurt when you said that," instead of simmering in silent resentment. It is admitting, "I do not know," in a world that rewards false certainty. It is the counterintuitive realization, as glimpsed by Nietzsche, that true strength is found not in the armor of deceit, but in the vulnerability of transparency. Historically, those who broke free, from Socrates to Frankl, understood that an examined life, however painful, is the only one worth living. They reclaimed control by aligning their inner truth with their outer word. Action by conscious action, building a self that is indivisible. This alignment forges an unshakable integrity. The fear of exposure dissolves because there is nothing left to expose. But this path leads to a final, daunting frontier. If you succeed, if you strip away every comforting illusion, what remains at the core? What is the ultimate, unadorned truth of the self when all the stories fall away? The ultimate truth is this: beneath the curated identity, behind the fears and desires, there is no fixed, final self to discover. Radical honesty does not reveal a polished, authentic statue waiting in the marble. It reveals the sculptor, the conscious, choosing, moment-to-moment presence that is your fundamental reality. You are not a noun, but a verb. The you that you have been protecting is a story. The you that observes the story, that can choose to change the narrative, that is what is real. This is the paradigm shift. The struggle was never between your truth and the world's acceptance. It was between the fluidity of your own experience and the rigid fiction you mistaken for yourself. In seeing this, every past struggle gains a heartbreaking clarity. You are fighting ghosts, building walls to defend a mirage. True freedom is the terrifying, exhilarating responsibility of creating yourself anew in each honest moment, with nothing but the raw material of your perception and your unwavering commitment to it. The final liberation is existential. You are left not with answers, but with a profound, silent question, the only one that ever truly mattered. Now that you are no longer a prisoner of this story, what will you choose to write, and who will you choose to become with the blank, terrifying page of this single, honest moment? The cage door was never locked. You were just so busy decorating the walls, you forgot you could leave.